Hey everybody, welcome to the winter 2023 Woodland Hills Cultivate class on the Holy Spirit. It's going to be a scriptural study and survey into the person and work of the Holy Spirit and his positive ministry toward us. But before we got into the actual class modules material here, I want to give you a little introduction about myself. So that way you might get to know me better and hear about a little bit of my history and kind of how I got to, to where we are now with hosting this 8-week course here. So here's a couple pictures of me, my family, yeah, that's me and a guitar. I do that for a day job, so I sing and play guitar for my income and so forth. But growing up, I was in an environment with my church as opposite of anything charismatic or Pentecostal as one could get. Was the Worldwide Church of God. I tell you what, if you even had a goosebump during a hymn, singing a hymn in a church service, I swear the ushers would have probably came and escorted you out of the building. I mean, that's how, dry our services were. Very intellectual, 2 hours every Saturday, because we were Sabbatarians, we kept the Sabbath. And just no emotion whatsoever or no real tangible sense of the Holy Spirit. That church went through a whole bunch of theological changes in the early 1990s. And long story short, they became evangelical, so they did eventually switch over from hymns to more like contemporary music. And you even would see some hand raising or kind of putting your hands in the receiving position right above your, kind of your chest, belly area there. But that's about as far as we ever got as far as, being expressive in worship or being open to the Holy Spirit. But in college, I had a pretty profound Pentecostal or charismatic prophetic experience just in my house in prayer one time. And that led me into just a whole different realm of encountering God, experiencing God. And it really changed my prayer life and a lot of other dynamics. And I just started to run with that and went down that avenue and experiencing more of the Holy Spirit. I found myself after college serving at a Baptist church, First Baptist Church of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Beautiful little town outside the Appalachians. That's where they had the Civil War. And I thought it was just going to be a kind of another kind of more dry experience, more, I was there to be a blessing and minister whatever I could. But to my surprise, and unbeknownst to me when I did the interview process, was there was already charismatic things happening at this church. The pastor was starting to lead these healing services. He came from a perspective, we don't know if it's God's will or healed or not every person, but we're going to do it anyways and anoint them with oil and see what happens. And some things happened at these services. We had some interesting staff meetings around the concept of speaking in tongues and charismatic things that were happening at the church and prayer type of thing. We did all night prayer things. There was people in the church that were experiencing prophetic and charismatic giftings of the Holy Spirit. And there's just a lot of questioning that was happening within the leadership and within some of the members. So what an incredible time. Had no idea what I was getting into, but this charismatic prophetic thing kind of followed me. And then I spent, we did 2 years there in Pennsylvania. And we also started doing a correspondence course. My wife and I found this Bible college that was in Colorado Springs, Colorado. We started doing a correspondence course with them. And after 2 years at being at the Baptist church, we went out and moved sold everything, sold the house, sold the cars, and attended this Bible college. And it was a Word of Faith Bible college, but a very fun experience, a non-academic, not accredited at all, so you don't get a real degree, but we had more experiential, tangible, classes where we would maybe worship for an hour, or we had one adjunct faculty member, I remember one time said, all right, she was teaching a class, and she said, today we're going to just do a hands-on thing. So we're going to have you turn to your neighbor and just believe that God is with you and pray and just speak over your neighbor. See what the Holy Spirit brings to your mind, whether it's something prophetic for them or a word of encouragement, whatever it might be. And so we had lots of experiences like that. And I also got to, I was going to say teach, but it was more of a facilitate. I facilitated an elective at that Bible college on the early church and house churches and what that setting would have looked like. And we just went through the scriptures and went through some early church fathers and their writings and different things. It was really fun. And then what happened as a result of all that is I just got this download from the Lord in about March of 2016, all about house churches. Because up to that point, I thought I was going to be I was being groomed to go into ministry, and more of a traditional ministry where I'd go around from town to town and be an itinerant preacher and show up at a church service and then preach about how awesome God is and how much he loves us, and maybe do some healing services afterwards, and just help lead people into more experience with the Holy Spirit. But when I got this download about house churches, man, everything changed. My wife and I kind of just walked away from traditional church. We were full, all in the deep end of the pool on house churches. And we've been doing that for about 15, 16 years. Just was a wonderful experience. We learned a lot. Eventually, around the fall of 2018, we started opening up our house here in Minnesota for what we call worship nights. And worship nights were just a time where people could come. There's no agenda, there's no leader, but the format or the structure was going to be, we are going to default to prayer and singing, and just see if we could release the control of the meeting over to the Holy Spirit and allow him to or flow freely, so that we could just experience more of him. And we did that for one or two times a month for a couple of years until COVID hit. And even during that time, we were getting more connected with Woodland Hills. We had some people that recommended that we check them out, and we've been listening to lots of different sermons and podcasts, and we visited a few times in person, but we never really felt the leading to kind of join up and partner, because we were still thinking, most of what we'd be doing would be in the house church setting, not traditional setting. But I started meeting with some of the staff and some of the different folks kind of at Woodland Hills, and getting more familiar with some of the leadership and some of the just regular attenders. And I just felt a calling to get more involved. And then in April of 2021, both my wife and I got a release from doing house church exclusively. And so that kind of really gave us the go ahead to get connected with traditional churches again. And that led me into joining the SEM program at Woodland Hills, which is the Seminary for Everyday Missions. That was in the fall of 2021. And I'm now a year and a half through that. And in that process, it really led me to do all the academic research that I guess I hadn't been putting it off, but I just really wasn't excited about it. But man, the Lord really put in my heart to really research this stuff out from an academic point of view, to get more, maybe researched opinions about the experiences of the Holy Spirit, the baptism of the Holy Spirit, the filling of the Holy Spirit, indwelling of the Holy Spirit, and look at it, maybe taking my opinions and everything I learned from the pulpit and non-academic doctrines and opinions that I've heard from different ministries over the last 20, 30 years, to really just step away from that and get some other opinions and learn more. And that's what I've been doing quite heavily, lots and lots of books and articles over the past year, preparing for what I would hope to be a class like this, where we could really dig in and look and experience together in a community setting, go through the scriptures and seek and press into the Holy Spirit as much as we can. So I've always been passionate about the fillings of the Holy Spirit and helping people experience more of the Holy Spirit, and kind of get into that, cross from that threshold, to help one enter into a more charismatic dimension of the Holy Spirit, and providing space for people to practice that. And that's what's led us up to this point. Thanks for joining us on this, what's going to be an 8-week course on just the Holy Spirit and the positive ministry that he has towards us. I'm also going to do another video here in a minute, giving you a high-level overview, like a meta-narrative of the Spirit of God, the Holy Spirit, throughout the Bible, and we'll do that real quick as well. But welcome, and love to have you here on this class.